Two, one. There we go. There we go. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. We're doing a break of debates again, and this time we're going to be talking about Batman. Nothing but Batman. Movies, games, characters, story arcs, villains, everything that's Batman. Now, I have with me again Kim, who decided to just come on in and just talk comic book, just comic book geeky stuff like we always do, and I'm really enjoying you being here, Kim.
Oh, I've enjoyed it. This has been a blast. Our last two conversations were DC Marvel and running into movies and what's going on with the DC Marvel universe. But we're stepping into the DC world tonight. One of my favorite characters. We're going to jump into some Batman tonight. At least in the DC
and
world.
That's what's up. I cannot wait to get on with this discussion.
Oh, where should we start? Well, we know, I can tell you, Batman started in 1939. That's how long Batman's been around. But it wasn't Batman, Batman as we know him. It was more of the Detective Comics version of Batman, which was fairly interesting.
Yeah.
He never had his own solo. He was kind of a created character, just to kind of come in there and, you know, kind of like he was both Detective Comics. I mean, that's what he originally was a detective, per se. So, and then we had some very early Batman movies too, you know, back in 1943, 49, 66, of course, with Adam West. So there's been a lot of... Yeah, that's the Batman most people know, at least classic Batman, is the Adam West Batman. You know, the hokey TV show from the 1960s that syndicated for many, many, many years, and even had I think 2 movies even off of that. So some crazy stuff was going on there. But
he brought it up.
He was the
I don't think we could be where we at if Adam West didn't never play him.
No, we couldn't. I mean, Adam West and the 1960s series that we saw, well, most of us in reruns. I'm not that old. But you know, dirt does have an edge on me a little bit sometimes. But we had the 60s and 70s series and the movies with Adam West, and then that rolled into our Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher movies, which we had Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and then Batman and Robin. And then there was supposedly a 5th film, but that kind of washed, and they just kind of shut down the film industry or at least the movies for almost 10 years. We come back with the reboot that I liked, which was Christopher Nolan. We had Batman Begins in 2005, and then we had Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, which were excellent movies. More of the edgier, grittier, darker Batman, which I do like. But I like the fact that
a very modern take on the character too.
Yes, much more, not as comic booky. I mean, when you saw the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher movies, you know, I like Michael Keaton as the Batman in the first 2 movies. But then we jumped into Val Kilmer, we jumped into George Clooney, and they had some really cool characters come in there. We had Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, the Riddler. Although I kind of like the setup of the characters, but, you know, we were in that too cartoony mode.
Yeah, way too cartoony.
It was kind of like a hybrid of the Burton movies, which were a little more darker, grittier, with the Penguin in there. We had that Catwoman in there. You know, everybody remembers Catwoman. They remember the suit more than anything.
Michelle Pfeiffer, she wore that suit.
Yeah, she wore it. They had to sew her into that suit. She had to squeeze in and not eat for a couple of months filming that movie.
But I do think that those movies are kind of like a mixture of the Tim Burton and the Adam West.
Yes, they give you the cartoony style, the over-the-top characters.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Batman was trying to be kind of the Batman we know, the darker Batman, but it just visually the movies were great looking, but they did look good, just campy and cartoony, and I wish they would have not gone that route. I mean, they still could have made them vibrant and over the top, but keep the tone of the movies a little more not so cartoony, I guess. I hate to use that word all the time, but that's just what they remind me of. They look like comic books. They look like animated series live action cartoons.
Yeah, and I think what they were trying to do is try to fit so many characters into one movie. Because if you
Oh
think
yeah,
about it, Batman Returns uh, did bring in two villains, but the villains didn't. It didn't feel like it was like in there. They
yeah.
actually,
Penguin and Catwoman did not overdrive. They had their
yeah,
quick story, their story plot, and then they
yeah,
got in there and they were good, and it worked very
for the
well.
most part,
And then when you
yeah,
moved it to Batman Forever, you know, you brought in Chris O'Donnell in there, Jim Carrey as the Riddler, Chris O'Donnell was Robin, Tommy Lee Jones as
yeah.
Two Face, and I think the casting for the characters, the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two Face, were great. I liked them, I really did. But again, they started getting that vibrance, that richness, and you know
I
they.
think I think they did a all right job with the casting. I didn't like Jim Carrey as the Riddler, not because he cannot play a Riddler. It's just his portrayal of the character. Like I would have
Yeah,
liked to
you
see
wanted
him
a
a little bit more
you wanted
serious.
more of a Batman animated series Edward Nygma,
Yeah,
like you see him in the current. No, I'm sorry, the second animated series they just had, where he's much more methodical. He's
yeah,
not so goofy and loony. He's more serious, but still has
yeah,
that Riddler humor, I guess we could say. You know, his way of doing business. And yes,
yeah,
I think that would have been good. I mean, but for the style of movie, I think he was okay. But
yeah,
if they were to
yeah.
redo that, the Riddler would have to be more towards the Edward Nygma that we knew of in or the animated
Yeah,
series. I
yeah.
think that
And
would
I
bring it
heard that.
much better.
I think that's one reason when they did the Dark Knight Rises that they didn't go with the Riddler character because
Mm-mm.
it seemed like his character would fit in that world.
No, no, that
But
style
the
of
reason
movie
why,
was darker, grittier. I mean, we saw Two Face, of course,
yeah,
in that series, which was
yeah,
well done. But yeah, the Riddler, I don't think in that style of movie would have worked very well unless they did an Edward Nygma animated series. But I think the character that they brought in there and just chose not to bring him in, that was a much
yeah.
better choice. I mean, just eliminate him from the
Okay,
movie and altogether.
yeah. I heard that they even said that we're considering who would be the third major antagonist of the series. They considered him, but they said because of how it was portrayed in the second movie, which is kind of more like an intellectual, psychological thing towards Batman, that they weren't going to do that because that the Riddler would be pretty much a rehash of that.
The
Maybe
Scarecrow
not
was a
as
great
chaotic.
choice in there instead of the Riddler.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, Dr. Kane was very well done. I wish he had had more time to develop that character to be the Scarecrow
yeah,
that I like and enjoy in some of the other series, they animated in some of the comic series. But I think it was nice that they
yeah,
brought in what to me would be more obscure character. But I mean, if we look at some of the, you know, just a touch here, let me find where I was looking at. You know, some of our more known Batman villains. You know, since we're already talking all these characters, you know, I know you mentioned Clayface in our last
yeah.
discussion, talking
I
about
like. I
you
love
know villains, and we talked about Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze,
Killer
Harley
Croc.
Quinn,
Mm.
uh,
Lover.
the Joker. Although Catwoman has been kind of a
Hmm.
nemesis, she's also a love character kind
Like
of
a
in there. She's kind of a mixture.
yeah. Like the
Um,
anti. She's like the anti.
yeah, she's there for herself. She'll help if she needs to, but for the most part, she's there for herself. We've already talked about Two Face, the Riddler, the Penguin. Poison Ivy was another character I believe you mentioned last time we
Yes.
were talking.
Yeah. Yes.
Of course, we had the
I
Scarecrow.
I, I kind of I kind of want to see Firefly. I think that's the guy name. He's like a pyro uh, tech. What was it? I forgot. I love the burn stuff.
Oh man, I'm trying to think.
Firefly.
I'm probably going to end up jumping into a Marvel character off the top of my head, and I know it's not right, but um, I'll have to look that up here in a minute. Somebody else we've already seen in the movies, which I thought was very well done, was Ra Al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul.
They picked. He played that. Liam Neeson played that role.
In the animated series, when they had Ra's al Ghul in it, and his daughter Talia was in there, and she was a love interest of Batman. The style of Ra's al Ghul in there reminded me exactly of the character Liam Neeson played in the movie.
Yes.
You know, I did not foresee that, you know, they didn't really release who Ra. They just said Ken Watanabe was playing Ra's al Ghul, but they totally didn't mention what he was playing. And when I found out he was actually him, spoiler alert, he was perfect, because I figured that's who it really was, but I just, I didn't foresee it at that moment as I'm watching. I thought he was just a trainer.
I really did like how they did that. He looks like Ra's al Ghul.
He does. And I'm looking at a character right now, and I mean, he looks just like him. I mean, he even had the white hair on the side and everything, even though, granted, he's, oh, geez, how old is he? He's like a bajillion years old. He's a couple hundred years old, based on the story, but using the Lazarus pit to keep him alive and going. Now, I do have to mention that I do not like the Ra's al Ghul character in the CW series, The Arrow. Totally ruined the character for me. I
to me, I liked him, but I don't think he had like the presence. Like if you look at him, I didn't see him as Ra's al Ghul.
No, he didn't. No, when they didn't show him, they just showed the Hinkling to the season 2, where you kind of saw his hand or hear him talk, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good. And then when you finally actually see him, it's like, that's it. I just, as I said, like, I did not feel it at all. Did not feel it.
Yeah. That's one thing I can say about that. He did not have that Ra's al Ghul presence.
No, absolutely not.
When Liam Neeson came on the scene,
oh yeah,
he's like, he got the presence for the character. I mean, and I'm not saying the guy was a bad actor. The dude did a pretty decent job for what the show did. But I just think
he is what I enamored as Ra's al Ghul. He had he like had that age to him, even though he's older. They never really mentioned the Lazarus Pit at that point in the movie anyway, but only in the CW series have they mentioned it and actually used it. But it just, it just covered him very well. I mean, being he's a master tactician. He's super smart. He's a scientist. He's a detective. He's got all these things going to him from his age, and I felt you could feel that character kind of flowing from Ra's al Ghul in the Batman as Liam Neeson played him. So, I kind of was like, yeah, that's him. It's perfect, And I wish, they kind of left it open. I mean, you never know. He could always pop up somewhere else because he's over 500 years old, according to what I was just reading a minute ago. So I would also like to see Clayface, as we talked last week, too. I would definitely like to see a Clayface character. It is Firefly?
Yeah, it is Firefly.
Yeah,
and Batman has a pretty good roster of characters. Let me actually say something. When it comes to the Dark Knight, I've only known of 2 love interests. I think it's 4. There's the love interest, which the most prominent 2 are the one with Catwoman and the one with Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
And then I kind of dived a little bit further down, and I found out that he did kind of have like a relationship with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy.
That I did not know.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a major thing, but there was like a love thing, like Batgirl too. Batgirl was another one.
Well, Batgirl, I kind of, you kind of got a hinkling a little bit, even in the 1960 series. Just kind of, unless you just got to kind of pay towards it, but you could see it. But I really did not know about the Poison Ivy. I know in the animated series, Poison Ivy always kind of made passes at him, and Harley was kind of joking around with him too. So I can actually see that based on the animated series, but in most of what I've seen, I've never actually really thought about that. So very interesting.
Yeah, it shocked me. Like, who do you think he had the better like love-hate relationship with? Because of course he had one with Catwoman, but he also had one with Talia al Ghul, which they did.
They had a son, if I remember right. They actually had a son.
Yeah, Damian Wayne. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's like one of the characters I don't like. I don't like his character because it's like he's one of those characters that knows everything. Like there's nothing that can stop him.
Oh, the impossible character.
Yeah. Yes. When I was watching the new animated Batman movies, he's in them. He's in like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh.
And if you watch him, he's like wiping people out left and right. And it's like,
I wonder if he has the longevity of Ra's al Ghul's genetics, because I know Talia uses the pit. She's actually got a sister, if I remember right, too. There's actually two daughters of Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, is that going up the Arrow, the show Arrow? Because in that show, she had a sister.
No, I believe it's in the comics too. Because I remember reading at one point in time there was actually a second sister or a second daughter to Ra's al Ghul, and I was sitting here trying to find it because I remember it was just kind of an off the wall because I didn't realize he had actually had two kids.
Yeah,
I knew Talia. I mean, we see her a lot. But
and I think what's her name that played Talia in the movie did a good job.
Yeah, they were.
It was like out of left field.
Yeah, you didn't see it coming at all whatsoever.
It really didn't.
I was like, "What? All right." You know, leave no stone unturned, and she came back and put a stomping on him too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she had a car accident.
Well,
I was
that was more than a car accident.
Oops. Well, I guess I may have been making some baloney because I was digging through the Ra's al Ghul thing and trying to see if I could find the other daughter in there, and I guess maybe that was a CW thing. Maybe I was just reading one of the CW behind the scenes books. Nissa? That sounds familiar. Well, we'll keep on trucking. We got some Batman talking to do. We'll come back to that. That may be a whole nother show, just Ra's al Ghul and his evilness and the League of Assassins.
I kind of want to say I think it is. I think he does. Yeah, she does. The half sister of Nissa Ratko.
Okay.
Ratko. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was another one in there somewhere, but I think even the movie and CW series, I think they even called her Nissa, but it was just brief. It was not. They didn't focus on her a whole lot. They were more on Talia.
So, no. In the series, in the CW, they focus more on Nissa.
Oh, maybe that's why I had it backwards. Damn it!
Yeah, they focused a lot on her, and I'm not gonna lie, she was badass. I loved her character. I loved her character.
For some reason, I had her as Talia. I don't remember why. I was. Shame on me. But I did like her character, though. In the CW, I like the League of Assassins. I like when she showed up, and I like how they portrayed the character and her style and fighting ability in there was great, phenomenal. Enjoyed it.
She had presence. She definitely had presence.
She commanded presence and commanded your attention when she was, whatever she was doing, she was there, and you just saw badass written all over. There was no ands, ifs, or buts about it, especially when she showed off her arrow skills being better than his.
Especially the one episode she actually fought Green Arrow and Merlin at the same time. I loved that one.
Yep. She was whooping them all over the place, too.
But before we get off subject and everything, which we have like the last 5-6 minutes, let's get back onto the Dark Knight.
Oh, come on. It was fun. We always like talking to bad guys. I mean, but like I say, we do have a large list of characters.
Yeah.
A lot of them we have seen actually out of just even a handful. I'm looking at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 that I'm looking at. We have actually seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 of those characters have been in the Burton movies, the Shoemaker movies, and the Chris Nolan movies. Yeah. So we've seen quite a bit of those characters. And again, there's more, way more to come too.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something. And I'm kind of on the fence about this. Now, Batman is known as one of the most powerful superheroes. I don't want to say powerful because he isn't. He's a man.
That's why I like Batman. He is not. When they say the word superhero, he has no powers.
Yeah.
He is just an ordinary guy, above human, if you read into the little character stats, above human prowess, strength, but, his whole persona, his whole knowledge base was to get rid of crime in Gotham City to avenge his parents. That was his thing. He learned from the best in all the world. He learned fighting skills. He was involved in League of Shadows, so he learned a lot of stuff there. He learned... he's smart. He's above average intelligence. I mean, he's on par with Tony Stark if you were to comparison a character. So he uses more of his brains, not necessarily brawn, although he does bring it in the form of his own personal self, his fighting styles, his armaments, His weapon systems, all the way from the Batwing to the gliders to the body armors.
Yeah. I've
He
always
brings it
had
in
an
there.
issue with Batman. I've always had an issue with Batman where he seems like he's prepared for everything.
He
And
has
I'm
to
like,
be.
but that's just the thing. There's too many like villains. There's too many situations for him to be prepared for everything. I would love to see. One thing I like about Batman is his sometimes when there's an issue that pops up, he can improvise. That's why I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him being prepared for everything.
Well, I think, as we've seen in the tail end of the Batman versus, actually, well, really, Batman versus Superman with this nearer reboot with Ben Affleck in there.
Yeah,
We see Batman in a time where he's tried to shut down. Bad things have happened to him. He's in a bad place. He hasn't really been the
yeah,
Batman in a long time. He's kind of gotten complacent until what? Superman gets in a big fight and tears up everything, kills all these people, and it pisses him off. And it pisses
yeah,
him off because he, as you say, he's always prepared for something. He wasn't prepared. No one on the planet was prepared for that. And
yes,
he is one who likes to be prepared, always has a plan. He does improvise very well. And in this movie, you see him rebooting himself, getting himself back up, going,
hmm,
physically, mentally. And then as the movie goes on, he learns about other superpowered people. What can we do with that? How can I be prepared? As you said earlier, he's always got something going on. So
yeah,
now you see the brains start working. How I know that I had a hard enough time, trying to fight this guy, but there may be somebody else bigger and better coming. What do we
yeah.
do?
And
How do we
that
do it?
and
How do we take
that's
it?
another reason. And that's another reason why I like the Christopher Nolan movies. In fact, I like them. Yeah, that's another reason I like the Christopher Nolan movies. Because if you think about it, in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, it seemed because of that campiness and that comic book feel to it, it seemed like they were ready for every situation.
Yeah, you
When
just
Mister Freeze, when Mister Freeze froze the floor in that building, didn't they form like skates on their feet?
yep, sure did.
Ice skates, like that, like that throws you off.
And you're like, what? Well,
But
remember
then
remember the old Batman series though in 1966 with he always had the utility belt. And that utility belt, man, must have had like every secret weapon known to man in that little bitty belt. Because he'd be
yeah,
fighting poison ivy, and he needs the antidote for some new toxin, or God knows what. I need a batarang that flies around the room.
he just made this toxin up. How did you figure out how to?
Exactly. Where the heck? My portable Batman chemistry set I carried in a test tube. You know, and it was great. I mean, that was the campy Batman, but again, you saw that in the later
Yeah,
series with the Joe Schumacher series is where it got real campy, and they always had every plan available. The lipstick, or no, the things Poison Ivy was using, the mist.
oh
That
yeah,
was making all the men
yeah.
bend to her whim, and they tried it, and they're like, "Uh-oh, bat nose man, I got it. I got nose filters. Come on."
Mm-hmm. All right,
It's
or like in Batman and Robin when Poison Ivy was kissing people, and
yes,
she kissed Robin, and Robin had a little plastic thing on his lips. And
yep.
I'm thinking to myself, when somebody kiss you, they just ain't kiss you with their lips.
Well, in the Batman movies, you do.
I'm like,
Remember, campy, hokey, not so much adult oriented. Lip kissing is what's going on there. That's all you're gonna get in those movies.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Now,
I
in the
mean, it's
Christopher Nolan movies, it was a totally different story, but
yeah.
more
And like
adult
I said, Batman
generated.
got caught off, yeah, guard. Like every movie, every person he had to deal with, got caught off guard. And I like that because it was like a more of a learning experience. And it's like a lot of times he had to kind of plan on the spot.
Exactly, and you see that a lot in the newer style Justice League animated series. You see that happen a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when they had Android, I can't remember the number, Android 942 or whatever it was, something that Stark had sent out, and it came back and more intelligent and smarter, and
Oh yeah. Ivo's Android.
yeah. And what do they do? I mean, they all got their butts handed to them, and they all had to improvise. I mean, literally, the station's been compromised, Earth's been compromised. How do we stop
Mm-hmm.
this from happening? and you see the leadership.
Yeah.
The other thing is his leadership style too. You see, now he's been solo for so long. Then he had several versions of Robins, and those all kind of faded away. But most of the Batmans you see in the animated and movie series, he didn't have his Robin with him. Until the Nolan series, he didn't even mention Robin. Briefly.
I think at this point, when it comes to Batman movies, there should not be a Robin.
No.
I think if they're going to introduce anybody, introduce the adult versions of the characters. Like introduce Nightwing.
Yeah, bring Nightwing on, or there's several versions that we could use that have moved from the Robin placement into
the Red Hood.
Exactly. All those characters could be done.
Bring the adult version. That's I didn't mind Crystal. That one guy that played Robin in the what's the name movies. That's why I didn't mind him, but I didn't like the fact that he played Robin. I'm like, you should have played a different character.
Yeah, bring somebody else on.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were pushing to see a Nightwing character come out to play.
Yeah.
I think I read a lot when the movies were coming out. Is Nightwing going to be in there? Are we going to see a Robin? Are we going to see anybody? But in the newer style movies, I'd really not like to see any type of companion. And if they do it, bring in Nightwing or some of the other incarnations that Robin has migrated to. Don't give him a little companion. Just don't ruin it in that way.
Yeah,
the style of movies is not going to work with a side companion in this, especially when they go into Justice League. When we start seeing Justice League, it was always Batman solo. Occasionally, you might see Robin pop in for a brief whatever, but that was it. And with the newer movies, we should see just really the Justice League forming, and they won't have any sidekicks at all. Anybody will have any type of little sidekick going on. Not even a little, like in the old animated series, Jan Jace and Gleek, not going to have any of those characters in there.
So let me ask you something. In terms of story, I haven't, I've dived into some of the stories, not in depth. What I do know the most of is usually from the animated movies, because they do go in depth with it. Like Batman, Damian, what was it? Son of Batman, Batman versus Robin, and then me personally, I loved the Dark Knight Returns, the two movies that came with that, because they were really good. And I want to say I was trying to get into the Hush story arc.
I just saw that character mentioned earlier in the list of criminals I was going over, and I saw Hush, and I'm like, what is Hush? Who is Hush? I had never really, I've really never heard that name before, and it just kind of threw me off. I was like, who the heck is that? So I was just kind of.
I got introduced to the character through the Batman Arkham City, because he appears in there, and he appears in the Arkham Knight, I think, or is it Arkham Origins? This is one of them. But from what I remember, Hush is actually a former friend of Bruce Wayne.
That's what I'm reading. He's
squandered like his family's fortune or something like that.
Yeah, it came up.
He like blamed Bruce, and ever since then he's been like.
Oh. Wow. Okay. There's a whole bunch extra. I may have to read more into this. I'm just kind of skimming through real quick, just trying to catch up on this character as we're talking, and just I'm seeing like Riddler and Lazarus Pits and Killer Croc. I mean, there's all kind of names coming up. Just rolling through this Hush character. So I might have to do a little research on this Hush character and kind of see what's going on.
Yeah, the story arc, I didn't get a chance to get into it the way I wanted to, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it says he's very smart. He's a master of disguise. He's good at plastic surgery.
If I'm correct, he actually made his face look like Bruce's.
All the pictures I see here of him having bandages all over his face. It seems to be his signature bad guy suit. But he was trying to destroy Bruce Wayne, and he did have a lot of different things in here. So that's very interesting. I will have to dig into the storyline a little bit more and find out about it, because I'd never really placed that character in my head going, who the heck is that? Clayface I knew from the animated series. I didn't really see him much in the comic series. The rest of the characters we know from both animated and the movies. Because Suicide Squad brought in, Harley Quinn, the Joker, Killer Croc right off the bat. So that was good. And then we still have Justice League movie coming out next year, so that's going to be interesting to see what all gets thrown in there. We already know we're going to see at least two characters, three characters, Cyborg and Flash,
and
Aquaman, with no weak ass powers this time. I hope they better make Aquaman Billy Badass, because Jason Morris playing him, and he looks badass to begin with. So they got to do some good work, get some work there. So cool.
I want you to tell me this too. Okay, I would like to dive into the games, but you haven't played the games yet.
Unfortunately, you got me on the games. I sadly, my life sometimes does not so much allow the games, but my son does.
I understand that.
And I was going to see if he was going to be here, and so he could talk about games, but he's got to work tonight. I would have brought him in tonight because he could sit here and talk as long as I could about everything else on those games, because he's I think he's even pre-ordered the newest Arkham series.
That's the one thing I do want to get, because I wanted to cry when I found out. I was like, oh my gosh, it's for the Xbox One, but I can't pick it up on the Xbox 360. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But the Arkham series, honestly, we're just gonna dab into this. The Arkham series, as far as a Batman game, they perfected. I don't think there's ever going to be a game that's a Batman game that's not based off of that formula to make that's going to be a better Batman game. Now the Telltale ones that just got released, because they're more story based than action and all of that stuff, I think they'll be able to counter it because they're good with stories. But and we've already established that, like, would you say that the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan is like the epitome of Batman movies?
If you like Batman,
or is it?
If you like the darker Knight series, you like the more grungier, true grit, vengeance-seeking Batman, which is what you're going to see in the Arkham series, from what I've seen, at least in playing around. And Dark Knight series with Nolan is probably the best of that series. It brings everything that I expect to see out of Batman in there. Now, I like to see what they do in the games. Granted, I probably never really get a chance to sit down and do that anytime remotely soon. But from everybody that I know who has played the games, has just ate those games up. The Arkham series and the Dark Knight Dark Knight movie series, they go hand in hand. Arkham itself has got a very interesting history. If you even read on that, we could probably even spend a day on just going over Arkham alone, with all the super criminals and everything that has been in and out of that place, and all the weird experiments and everything that was going on in that. There was some really crazy stuff going on in there.
All right, okay, let's dabble in. Let's start talking about the television shows.
Ooh, television.
Now, without a doubt, everybody pretty much says that Batman the Animated Series completely that's like it. It's not going to get no better than that.
Well, they had the.
I kind of agree with them.
I have to make sure it's the right one that I had in my head here. There was a couple of versions of the series.
Yeah. I
was watching.
Batman the Animated Series. I like Gotham too. Gotham is a great series.
I have heard everybody talk about Gotham. Unfortunately, well, actually, right now some of my TV series are going away for the summer, so I'll probably start getting into those series and enjoying them. Man, was it Batman? I think there was two of the animated series. One was the more older style, and one was the more newer style of the.
They have the new Batman Adventures. They have, of course, Batman Beyond. They have what's that other one? Batman the Brave and the Bold. Now, and they had a series called The Batman, and I love that one too.
There was many of the series. Yeah, Batman animated series. I like that one. That was the one that I was thinking of earlier. That's like 94, 95.
Yeah.
I was with that one. I like that one.
Yeah.
Trying to go through all the series. There's so many. There's like 5. But all
I
of them that I've
love the
seen.
Batman. I love the
Well, there was
Batman.
the kind of the
That
campy.
series.
Well, that's the one with Edward Nygma, Mad Hatter, Joker. That's where Mark Hamill played the Joker. I like that series a lot.
Yeah.
And even though it was a little cartoony at sometimes, it still was really cool. And that's where they had the really cool Mr. Freeze in it.
Yeah.
Which is
that's one reason I like the Batman series that I don't think any of the other series picked up on. Series, I mean, Bruce Wayne's younger, I think.
Yes.
But the thing that stands out to me the most is the fact the bad guy, all of the bad guys were like complete threats. Like the Joker and all the other incarnations, the Joker didn't seem to know like how to fight. But now when he knew how to fight, Poison Ivy, she could actually like control plants. Mr. Freeze gun. I mean, he had the suit on, but he like shoot like ice out of his hands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like all of those, like everybody was like a straight up threat. Like everybody had, and if they had abilities in the original series, their abilities were pushed.
Yes, they maximized their style. Because the Edward Nygma I was talking about earlier, the Riddler was out of the animated series, is the one I was thinking of. That's the one I liked his style in there. The Penguin was kind of crazy. The Joker was kind of wimp. Harley was Harley. She was pretty much the same. Two-Face was pretty good. I liked all those characters, and I say that's the style of Mr. Freeze in that one was good. They even had where he built the city and everything in there. It was really good. I enjoyed that one. Clayface was really cool in that one too.
I love Clayface. That man was a beast.
So we had a lot of good characters, but I don't think there's really been any of the Batman series that I have not liked that have shown up on a Cartoon Network or any of the other major networks that have shown up. I've enjoyed them all. Each had their own, each carried their own style with them. Like I say, you had more bad guys with more powers. You had the more cartoony stuff. You've had a little bit of everything. You've gone to the extreme to the cartoony in all those series. In fact, even the Batman was not Batman 2000, where Bruce Wayne is much older and he has the younger kid, and it's more set in the future.
Batman Beyond.
Yeah, Batman Beyond. Where the Joker character in there is like he's freaking creepy. I mean, he's like not crazy stupid, but I mean he's just creepy. Just gives you that because he's all like cyborgish and stuff, but carries the same madness as the Joker that we've seen. And all the other characters that they've carried on are just more technologically advanced versions of their other
interpretations too. I did like the interpretations of those characters. Like they had Clayface. The original was Clayface, and there was a woman in the future called Ink that could do almost the exact same thing.
Yeah, they've had it.
And it seems like every time there was an original character in Batman, they had the equivalent. That was in the
exactly. There was a newer version of that character, but way better, way more interesting, or more advanced version of them. And it's like, well, did they carry it on, or did they, were these the same characters that evolved? They never really got into it. So you're like, okay, well, I'll take it with that and just keep on trucking. But it had a lot. I mean, there was 85 episodes made of that series, the animated series, that is. So I mean, there was a lot of those shows, and I definitely enjoyed that one. And I still every now and then catch one that I may not have seen, and just keep on watching them. So if I see one on, I usually DVR it, or I'll record it, or I'll go download it.
Yeah, I want to know. I'm thinking about like what story arcs stand out most to you, because I've done some digging in on the Killing Joke, and I kind of like where that was going. Of course, the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight Returns. I did some digging. I did like that too. The Hush, I didn't get a chance to jump on that too much. I really wanted to do. I don't know if you've seen Justice League Paradox, or if you've read up on that. But in that, what happened was the Flash went into the past to save his mom.
Oh, and he changed everything. Yeah, they're actually hitting that on this live series now. Actually, the season 3 of the Flash is supposed to be actually Flashpoint. coming out there. Plus, you also have like the new 52 stuff coming out. So
Yeah.
and I hadn't even, geez, throw everything in a tizzy for me.
Yeah. I wanted to check out that Flashpoint Paradox because in that version of Batman, when Bruce Wayne witnessed his parents get killed?
Yes.
It was the other way around. His parents ended up watching him get killed.
And did Commissioner Gordon, or no, his dad, right?
Dad became Batman.
Yeah.
And his mom became the Joker.
What?
Yes. I was like, okay, I got to get into that because I like that. And then his version of Batman.
That's crazy.
Yeah. His version of Batman was he killed people.
Well, yeah. Batman's golden rule was never kill anybody until the newer movie, basically in Superman versus Batman. Yeah, then he started mopping the floor with some people. But other than that, usually he always hung him upside down or branded him. Well, he actually didn't kill the one guy at the beginning. He just branded him. And he would have never done that in the first movie either. He would just hung him upside down all the time. But he actually branded him with the Bat logo. So, general rule, though, he's just never killed anybody. Flashpoint. Let's look into this. That's
what's
interesting. Gotham.
And even in the Justice League Gods and Monsters.
I really have got to read and see that series because that one has caught my attention. What happens when? Well, it's kind of like Batman versus Superman, except it actually happens. What does happen? Superman goes ape crap because the Joker killed Lois, and all hell breaks loose.
That's Injustice. Gods and Monsters.
Okay, sorry.
But the Gods and Monsters, that's the one where Superman is the son of God. Bruce Wayne ain't Batman. In fact, you remember the guy that turned into the Man-Bat?
Yeah. The scientist experimenting?
Yeah. He's Batman. But he's actually a vampire. Yeah, so I wanted to dig into that. And I love these alternate versions.
Wow.
Batman became a Yellow Lantern.
Man, there's all kind of crazy stuff. I am way behind. I'm gonna have to definitely go be doing some digging in some movies and some comics here. Because it keeps it fresh. You got to think. We're talking about a character who's been around since 1939. I think is what I said earlier, and we're in 2016. How many times can you reinvent a character, run the same storylines, add bad guys, create bad guys, kill bad guys? You got to keep the character fresh and alive, and we have such a different group of people now than even when I was a kid and reading comics. They expect more. They want to see more in the comics. They want to get more involved in the storylines, and that's, this is a great example of actually seeing everything change.
From what I'm looking on here, there was an issue where Bruce Wayne actually became police commissioner.
Wow. That's really crazy stuff.
That's one thing I like about the series. The Batman series expands over just so many different stories, over so many different things, and it's great.
Have you ever seen some of the? I always kind of enjoyed it, and I think they actually did it in a couple series, a couple comics. I might even have them. But have you ever seen like the steampunk Batman?
I'm not sure.
Where he's got like, the leather armor. He's got the steam-powered car, and it's just kind of crazy. And it's like he's like kind of like in the early West, like Wild West. And I thought that was a very interesting. It was kind of a brief. I think somebody was just doing just a one-time good deal, 3-issue or 4-issue storyline, but it was basically Batman in the Old West. And that was pretty cool. And the closest thing I can think of, he looked steampunky. He had that same technological advancement, but in the 19 or 1800s. So it's pretty cool. And I've seen some cosplay.
I kind of want to check out the Nightfall series, and that's the one where Bane breaks Batman's back.
Oh yes, that's where Azrael comes in, and
he takes the vents up.
Yeah, he comes in there, and that's very interesting because again, the Batman rules before were changed. because it was a new person, and he had some really cool stuff. And he also had the underground tunnel system with the basically back train or whatever you want to call it. There is some really cool stuff in that one.
Yeah.
That was one of those, kind of like Superman dying, Batman getting his back broke by Bane, and you realize how much of a powerhouse Bane was. I mean, what you saw saw in the animated, I was not the animated series. The animated series was closer to the Bane character, but he was an organized crime guy. Now, in the movies, the Bane that we saw wasn't the big muscle bound, but he was more the intellectual, raised up in prisons like he was in the story. If you read the character of Bane itself.
In the movie, he was intellectual, and he was physical, and he was kind of intellectual.
Yeah, but he wasn't the big behemoth monster that you have known to see, where he uses the venom and becomes, 5 times his normal size and is ripping people in half with his pinky.
For the longest, how could they have implemented that venom in the movie and made it as modern as it was? I don't think they could have.
No, because it would have been just kind of like watching a rehash of the Batman Forever, where the size of the character was right, but he was, in that case, he was just some little nerdy guy who got pumped up with it, was controlled by Poison Ivy, and he wasn't like the intelligent character that he is in the animated series and in the comics. And I could not see an implementation. It would be something like, oh, well, you think you're going to beat me now? Well, I got something up my sleeve, and he, hits the venom pump, and then he gets all huge. But then it would have been all cartoony, and I just don't think it would have worked very well at all. Not at all. Yeah. They gave him the mask as his weakness instead of the venom, and just kind of let it be at that point, But I liked him. I liked the fact he was that smart character. At the beginning of the movie was just like, whoa, what the heck?
He was brutal.
It was like, dang. And I liked it. I liked that style of the Bane character. Everybody's just expecting to see the big muscle-bound monster, but if they ever read the comics and read about Bane, he's actually a lot more than just some big monster behemoth. Yeah, he actually is a very intelligent. He actually ran an island, I think, because he was born in prison and raised in prison. And he was basically ended up running the whole. By the time he was said and done, when he was like 18, he was running the whole island prison and everything. He owned everything. So then he just kind of.
I want to ask you.
Sure.
Which character? Which portrayal of Batman on film was the best, hands down to you?
True to the comics.
The general performance.
Oh, see, I liked the original, the first 2 movies. That Batman style was good with me, and I liked him. But then we go to The Dark Knight Rises with Christian Bale, and I liked the first of the series, Batman Returns. Batman Begins. I liked that style, and I liked his character, but I think really though I like the Michael Keaton version a little bit as well. I think those are probably my top 2. I didn't like Kilmer. I didn't like Clooney. They just wasted time with those 2 guys. But
I like Clooney. I like Clooney for the simple fact that Bruce Wayne aspect good to me.
The Playboy style.
Yeah, he played that. That's what I like about his character. And of course, Clooney has that certain presence that he brings.
Yes.
And I think that did well for the Bruce Wayne aspect. Maybe not so much for the Batman.
Yeah.
But in terms of probably Bruce Wayne, I probably would say probably Clooney. Didn't do a good job either.
That just more relates to what you like in the character as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Like he was joking, he was laid back, he was kind of funny, and he had the they were retarded one-liners, but he did them.
Like his Ocean 11 type character.
Yeah. So as far as Bruce Wayne, Clooney. As far as Batman, I would have to say I'm kind of stuck between Keaton, the guy from the Dark Knight trilogy, and I'm kind of stuck with Ben Affleck too.
Affleck, I don't know.
I like the fact that he had that the if there was any of them that was like about raw power, like you could tell he was pissed at crime. I think he portrayed that the best. Like, yeah.
Well,
like
you have to think the time frame of the character.
Yeah.
You got to think that the Affleck character is an older version of Batman.
Yeah.
Where Keaton and
Bale, that's what his name, Bale.
Christian Bale.
Christian
Bale was, to me, a younger Batman. Granted, we started the series with him, not necessarily as a kid, but probably in his 30s. Yeah, probably mid-30s or so, maybe a little bit older. And he goes out and does his thing and does his exploring and trying to find his way around the world after everything went around. And then he was young, powerful, kind of reckless, and he was learning his lesson. That's kind of like why I like that style. With Val Kilmer, waste of time. He didn't do anything for me. Clooney, yes, he did a good. Clooney did a good, as you said, good Bruce Wayne, but I didn't care for him so much as a Batman character. It didn't draw me in.
Yeah. I like Val Kilmer because as Batman, he played like the haunted aspect of him a bit better to me. Just to me on that. And like I said, Clooney played like the playboy, out there type person. People relations type person. I like that aspect of him. Kilmer, like I said, did a good job to me as like the haunted Bruce Wayne that lost his parents. From Keaton, Bale, and Affleck, I think those three might have been the best ones. Each one portraying slightly different things that stood out to me.
Everyone kind of brought their little niche, their little personality to the characters. Like say, I like Bale because that's the Dark Knight. I mean, that's he fit it very well. And then as we're talking Justice League, Justice League I would expect it to have been, well, again, Batman is much older in this. Batman in this case is in his probably late 40s, mid to late 40s. He's kind of been out of the game. I mean, he's still there, but he's not on a regular basis. And I can't remember how long they said they hadn't even seen Batman, and it was probably like 5 or 6 years since Batman had kind of basically disappeared off of Gotham, at that point until the Batman Superman series that we've already started. So, he's getting back into the game. He's still got his brains. He's still got his wits. He's still got all his toys. He's still watching, but he just hasn't felt anything until, Superman is fighting General Zod and destroying everything. And it just fires him up.
I want to go ahead and keep talking about Batman, but we're starting to run up out of time. We got about maybe a minute and a half left. So I wanted to see if you had want to leave off with any other words over the Batman situation or topic or discussion.
Well, we covered quite a variety today, actually.
Yeah.
I'm very interested. I'm waiting to see what happens with Justice League coming out in 2017. See how Batman ties everybody together. If you've seen the trailer, you will get a inkling of that. I think Justice League will be a very interesting movie. And then, of course, we know casting has already been done for Batman, the solo movie, which is 2018 or 2019, with Deathstroke being in there, which is very exciting for me because I like Deathstroke. So we have a few things to look forward to that. I mean, that's really the big Batman news right now. That's just the two movies that are coming. So I'm very excited and waiting to see them.
Yeah, since we go ahead and wrap things up, next week, do you have any specific comic book topics that you'd like to discuss?
Well, I got the Batman.
I mean, we have plenty of superheroes.
Why don't you pick one? I got the Batman.
Okay, then.
So
We can go
throw down
ahead.
with somebody or a subject for next week. Your call.
Well, since we've already talked about Batman, of course, we're going to have to talk about his homeboy Superman.
Okay. We'll go into the Superman for next week. Next Wednesday, be here, folks, 7 o'clock ish. We'll be ready for some Superman discussion.
All right, then. Thank you, everybody, for enjoying our video and watching. Be sure to leave comments in the comment section below on ideas you would like for us to talk about. And with us on here, because we're going to keep doing this every week. We're going to keep bringing up great discussions, have just a blast. I thank you once again, Ken, for joining me for
Thank
this.
you for inviting me.
Want to leave off? Guys, thank you. And y'all have a good one.